Are you ready?
Are you ready for some? I guess we could call it football, maybe.
For absolute mayhem, chaos, absolute whatever sport is going to be on that field tonight. This is it. The day is here. Steelers, Patriots, Trubisky, Zappy. Are you ready for the sport that they call football?
Oh, it's going to be so bad.
This is the Christmas miracle that keeps on giving, isn't it?
Oh.
Good afternoon, everybody. It's a game day. Thursday, December 7th, 2023, 3 p.m. as we sit on the South Side Beat on DK Pittsburgh Sports live on YouTube. In about 5 hours' time, mayhem will ensue. 30 points is the over-under. Mitch Trubisky and Bailey Zappi are the quarterbacks. It's happening, folks. Steelers, Patriots, are you ready for this? Let's go, Chris.
I could not imagine. I mean, I'm trying to think of how I was thinking about this game going into the season. And going into the season, I thought, like, okay, maybe the Patriots will be like, one of those teams that's kind of fighting, having an outside chance at a playoff spot. That didn't happen. The Steelers are not as good as I think a lot of people thought they were going to be this year. Obviously, injuries have played a role in that. Obviously, coaching decisions, lack of growth with certain players, namely Kenny Pickett, have played a role in that.
B. Phil, I believe the number was $11 billion with a B over 11 years. The big loser tonight, let's be frank, is Al Michaels. The big winners tonight are Pelicans Bucks at 5 p.m. and Pacers Bucks at 5 p.m. and Pelicans Lakers at 9. That's your NBA schedule for tonight. That's the real winners for tonight.
Here's a question for you. What do you think Al Michaels would rather do? Call this game or eat vegetables?
Probably, I'd rather have a hot, piping, steaming bowl of broccoli in front of me.
Yeah, but Al Michaels doesn't eat vegetables.
Well, you know what? You'd have to ask Al Michaels that. All right. Mike is saying
you'll be there if you run into him, ask him.
I'm going to have vegetables at the stadium tonight just to get the best of both worlds. Oh, man, oh, man, oh, man. Listen, I know we're joking, and I know we're having fun, and I know, we're making fun of the fact that the over-under is the lowest in the NFL since I believe it's 1993. We are talking about two football teams that have no interest in finding the end zones, and it's a good thing they painted them gold tonight. The running joke in town right now is that are they putting the rope or the the stanchions around the end zone too to make sure nobody goes in? Because that's the kind of game we're all kind of expecting tonight, but expectation doesn't always transfer over to reality, does it?
I'll tell you what, man. If the Steelers end up putting up like a 30 spot tonight, those gold end zones are going to have to stay. Art Rooney's going to have to fork out the money to make sure that those end zones can be gold for every single time the Steelers play there, because if there's a fan base that is more superstitious than the Steelers fan base in this world, I don't know which fan base it is.
If you're not a fan of either team, you're not watching this game. No. You have to be a special kind of sicko, and I'm talking like sickos committee level sicko. You're the type of person that's watching the first round of the FCS playoffs. You're the type of person that's watching preseason NBA. You're the type of person that is gambling on FCS football. That's the kind of person. If you're not a fan of either team tonight, that's who's watching these games tonight. While you go, and while we read some comments, I'm looking up prop bets tonight. I'm curious. We know the over-under. Over-under Mitch Trubisky passing yards. This is how bad the optics of this game are. Over-under Mitch Trubisky passing yards is at 180.5.
I would take the over on that. I'll take the over on that.
As of right now, Mitch Trubisky over-under 180 I'm looking up some more prop bets because, look, this is the kind of game that is going to get ugly, more than likely. That is projected to get ugly. Potentially no Najee Harris for the Steelers. Potentially no Mason Cole or Isaac Seumalo, as all three of those guys are questionable. Perhaps Noah Landon Roberts. Those three guys, along with the Landon, are all questionable. However, a report from the NFL Network, as William asked here, what's up with Najee? A report from the NFL Network this morning suggests that Najee's going to try to play tonight. So we will see, obviously, pregame inactives around 6:45-ish, somewhere in that ballpark.
Yeah.
So we will see officially at that note. But, obviously I'll get to the stadium a little before, probably around 5:30, 5:45, and check out the warm-ups there, see what's going on, because there's a lot of intrigue as far as the injury report for the Steelers and seeing who's in or out, as, again, Najee Harris, Mason Cole, Isaac Seumalo, and Landon Roberts are all questionable for the Steelers tonight.
Yeah, obviously there's a lot of things going in there, but in terms of like you bring up the prop bets and everything like that, and I think this kind of goes into where we can, and we'll get to like this whole time to put up or shut up thing. But in terms of like game outlook and everything like that, I think if the Steelers have any kind of chance in this game, we talk about what the game plan should be. They had a good game plan against the Bengals. Bengals like to play cover 2. Steelers were like, let's attack down the middle. If they're going to leave middle field open, let's attack down the middle. So let's, they did that, and good game plan. They did not have a good game plan against the Cardinals. This time it's got to be attack those cornerbacks, and that, plays into what Mitch wants to do. Mitch wants to be aggressive, thoughtfully aggressive, but he wants to be aggressive. He wants to throw the ball down the field. Doesn't mean it's a go route every time. There are other ways to stretch the defense. Other ways to attack those cornerbacks, but those corners are susceptible to giving up some yards and even touchdowns. So use Deontay, use George, let Mitch air it out. If he has to throw a pick or two in order to get it done, in order to get some production, make it so.
Yeah.
That would be my game plan for tonight. Do not try to establish the run early. Attack them where they're weakest, and cornerback is where they're weakest. Try to run the ball on this team out of the gate. You're going to go 3 and out, and who knows, you could be down 6-0. And then, yeah.
Now, Mitch Trubisky said he wants to get aggressive against the Patriots. How aggressive is too aggressive? Is it, I don't want to say forcing, because nobody should force balls down the field or force deep shots.
No.
But what, in your opinion, would aggression mean? To me, I think aggression is what you're alluding to there within the game plan. Mm-hmm. Find ways to attack early and often. Don't resort to run, pass, punt. Open up some looks on first down and second down, and maybe you set up first and short with the quick game, and maybe you set up Najee Harris if he's playing, or Jaylen Warren with some short passes, or you get Pat Freiermuth involved underneath early. You got to find a way to establish rhythm. Like, I almost feel like I'm talking about this offense like it's a college offense. Mm-hmm. And in a way I am, because some of these college offenses, when they don't have the personnel like an NFL offense would, they have to start slow. They have to find ways to ramp up. They have to find ways to get the short and get the intermediate before the long opens. And with that comes the establishing of the run game. But I agree with you. Opening up those opportunities are going to be so key and so pivotal for that aggressive nature, so to speak, that Mitch Trubisky wants to play with.
Yeah, it's not easy to do, because it's like, where's the line? We kind of saw when we watched Mitch play last season. First 4 games, whenever he was the starter, it was way too conservative. Offense couldn't move because he refused to throw a pass that had a better than kind of okay chance of getting intercepted or even tipped. He just didn't make those throws. Everything was short. Everything was safe. And when you do that, the defense is going to be like, go ahead and take it.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Take it all day. I don't care. You're not going to move the ball. As soon as you make a mistake, you're going to end up having to punt the ball. Then, it's crap. It's crap offense is what it is. Now, when Mitch lost his starting job. When he came in the Tampa game, he was aggressive. He threw the ball down the field. He attacked. They won the game. Mitch was a big part of that. When he came in the Ravens game, he attacked. The offense moved the ball down the field. That's when, and then that game is a great example of what happens when you're too aggressive. They got into the red zone. He just kept attacking, didn't try to peel back just a little bit and make sure that they at least came away with points, and he threw 3 picks.
Yeah.
Can't do that. And so there's got to be a line there where you can't kind of go past it. I honestly think that if they could run a similar type of, obviously it can't be the exact same that it was last year because the Steelers would be able to run the ball, but the game in Carolina is what I think of. The kind of throws that he was making against Carolina doesn't have to be, again, doesn't have to be a go route, doesn't have to be deep post. You don't have to do a whole bunch of deep throw concepts. You can just do different things to attack those cornerbacks. They're playing off the line, run a bunch of curls, run hooks, run slants, do those. When they come up and run some press, that's when you take your shots, there's just different ways to do it, and it's going to take game planning, but it's also going to take Mitch making some good throws.
Yeah. All right. Randy says sometimes Mitch doesn't see open receivers and defensive players. Can you explain how difficult it is to read the whole field in the NFL? No, I can't because I'm not an NFL quarterback. But yeah. I mean, Randy, for you and those that are listening and maybe want the same answer, just try for a second to envision, okay? You standing back there 4 or 5 yards behind 5 guys who are larger than you as far as offensive linemen are concerned. When you have 4 receivers running different routes, different ways across the field, and you have defenses trying to plant their pieces into specific spots. Like, I can't speak for that because I've never been a quarterback. Mm-hmm. But I can imagine just from thinking about it that with so much going on at the same time and with so many moving pieces, that is a very, very difficult thing to do. And I'm not going to try to speak for that kind of skill or that kind of a concept. All right, Joseph kind of alludes, I think, to the title of the show here, and that's Time to Put Up or Shut Up. Joseph asks, can you imagine a loss tonight with Steeler Nation would be like? Here's the bottom line is this, Chris.
Yeah.
We throw the term around must win a lot. We throw that term around a lot. This is as must win as it possibly could be for the Steelers. For AFC implications, obviously this is a conference game. And for those that need a little reminder, when it comes to playoff tiebreakers, head-to-head is number 1, division records number 2, and then conference records number 3. So you have to win these kind of games for procedure reasons. This kind of game, weighty, if you want to put it that way, it could be the difference between making or missing the playoffs come week 18 for the Steelers.
Yep. Like we said a couple days ago, if the Steelers were going to screw up one of these last 6 games, the last one was the last one. It was the one to do it. Lose the if you're gonna absolutely crap the bed, do it against an NFC team. Because at the end of the day, if you end up with the same record as somebody, as another team or 2 other teams, 3 other teams, but come the end of the season, you need that conference record to be the best it possibly can. And with how tight this conference is, and we knew it was going to be tight, the Steelers need to make sure that they take care of business, obviously within their division, but within the conference is almost as important as within the division right now, because obviously you want to win your division, and it's not completely, out of the question that the Steelers can do it. Mathematically, I'm not talking about like, oh, the Steelers are a good enough team to win. I'm just saying mathematically they can still win the division, but it's really, really imperative that they win this game, that they win against the Colts, that they win against the Bengals. If again, you look at, down the road, last 5 games, if there's a game that they can afford to lay another egg, they shouldn't. But if there's another one, it's that game in Seattle. Let it be that one. Yeah. When you play within the conference, you got to bring your A game. Otherwise, that's what happened last year. They ended up coming back. They got into the playoff picture going into the last week of the season. 9-8 was good enough to get into the playoffs, but only with certain tiebreakers. And the Steelers just didn't have those tiebreakers.
Kane says, got all the ingredients to lose this game and blow the season. The issue with that is you're right. And the other issue with that is it's because we can say that because of what we saw on Sunday. nothing is safe in the National Football League. There's no such thing as a cupcake. There's no such thing as a gimme. There's no such thing as, in college football, when you think in terms of a bye game and the equivalent of that in the NFL, any given Sunday really does apply. In this case, any given Thursday. And the Patriots offense, for how putrid and awful it is, and it's not going to have Ramondre Stevenson, their best player, on that side of the ball, it's never impossible. Right? We learned that on Sunday. It's never impossible that a team can walk into a building like this and just walk all over them. Now, that being said, the Patriots are not as good of a team on paper at minimum as the Cardinals were. This is not, quarterback, obviously advantage goes to Kyler. Running back, advantage goes to Connor. Wide receivers, at this point, advantage go to Arizona because New England's not going to have two of them, and two more of them are questionable.
Yeah.
Tight end obviously goes to Arizona for singular Trey McBride, but the Patriots have a really good collective of tight ends that you have to worry about tonight, which we talked about yesterday. Now, the Patriots defense has done really well this year. And of course, when you have Mitch Trubisky starting and Najee Harris questionable and Mason Cole questionable and Isaac Seumalo questionable, you can maybe throw all of those offensive metrics out the window. So, yeah, when we talk about this is going to be slop, this is going to be mayhem, this is going to be chaos, that's the standpoint we're looking at. And this team, the Patriots, do not have the personnel that the Cardinals do.
No. The only thing that the Patriots are significantly better at than the Cardinals is run defense. The Cardinals are one of the worst in the league. Patriots are, I would even say, probably the best in the league. Like, I understand they're like technically third ranked in terms of yards per game, but they're averaging 3.2 yards per carry against. That's best in the NFL. And also when it's like, look at what you've done for me lately. They are clamping down on teams. Last week, Austin Eckler, 18 yards on 14 carries. That is non-existent. That is, you're not part of this game.
Yeah.
Like that is completely making the Chargers one-dimensional. The Steelers have to find a way, and these are not easy games to do because you can't just completely sell out and throw the ball every time, because then you do become one-dimensional, and then it makes it easier for the defense to defend that, obviously. And that gives their cornerbacks help. So you have to find a way. You have to pick and choose your spots to try to run the ball. I'm not saying you have to establish the run. I'm not saying that has to be the reason why you win. After all, if the first time you run the ball, Najee or Jalen pulls off a 6-yard gain, great. The next time they do it, it's a 4-yard gain. Next time it's a 5-yard gain. It's like, holy crap.
Yeah.
We might be able to run the ball a little bit better than we thought we were going to. Maybe we found something here. And then you kind of go with that. That's where the improvisation comes in when it comes to, okay, you go in with the game plan, but then what ends up transpiring in stadiums actually has to dictate what you do from that point on. But if you aren't able to run the ball, you have to have a game plan in which you can attack the defense without becoming one-dimensional.
Randy says, going along with that, Chris, Randy asks if Isaac Seumalo and Mason Cole are out tonight, who fills those spots? He assumes Herbig at guard. Actually, I would assume Nate Herbig would play center, and I would expect Spencer Anderson to play left guard. That's how I think that's going to shape up. Anderson did play some center in training camp, obviously, and we haven't really had to call upon Spencer Anderson's name because of some really good fortunes up the middle and the interior of the Steelers' offensive line. But I think it's going to be, if that's the case, let's say Seumalo's in and Cole's out, I think Herbig plays center. If Cole's in, Seumalo's out, I think Herbig plays guard. If both are out, then I think Herbig plays center and Spencer Anderson would play guard. That's how I think this offensive line would configure in the event that both are out. Obviously, C Shadows asked, did we get a final injury report? There's no injury report today. The next step as far as availability is concerned and finding that out in an official scope is inactives, which will drop around 6:45 Eastern, approximately 90 minutes before kickoff. So nothing's official as far as who's active, who's inactive as of right now.
So we're about 3.5 hours away from that right now.
Right. So those will come by at around 6:45 Eastern, again, about 90 minutes before kick. Jeffrey asked, Daniels at center? No, Daniels will stick at right guard. I don't think they would put Daniels at center and Herbig at guard, especially if that's the event that Seumalo plays. It depends on if Seumalo's in or out, really.
Yeah.
Because if Seumalo's out, then you're definitively going to prioritize playing Herbig at guard.
Mm-hmm.
If Seumalo and Cole are out, then they're going to have to play Herbig at center and Anderson at guard. You can't I wouldn't move Daniels to center, play Herbig at right guard, and play Anderson at left guard, or vice versa. I don't think that's possible.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that's the right thing to do, quite frankly. I think the best configuration for the line, provided both of those guys are out, would be to keep. No, I wouldn't even say McCollum, Mike, to be honest with you. Monongahela Mike says McCollum as the backup center. No, I think it's legitimately going to be Herbig in that situation, just because he has more experience snapping it, quite frankly. Plus, I think they would have to elevate McCollum. Correct me if I'm wrong.
I don't think he's on the active roster. I don't know 100%, but I don't think he's on the active roster.
Rick says Moore and Anderson on the left would be a disaster. Put 80 over there the whole game. You never know. I mean, we saw formations where Chuksa Okorafor was, rubbing nips, checking in, doing blocking and whatever it needed to be. That's what you do when you report as eligible. That's what they do. So he was reporting eligible last week quite often. They were doing a swing tackle situation. They had Darnell Washington in there for quite a few blocking snaps. So anything's fair game at this stage when you have so many injuries piling up, and especially two starters on the offensive line that you need to move around. That's what you have to work with right now.
Yeah. And this is something the Steelers didn't have to deal with last year. Obviously they were, they had the same starting five every single game. This is why they made the additions that they made and made the acquisitions that they made on the offensive line, because they knew that doesn't happen every year.
Right.
They had to get more depth there. And this is the reason why, because you may end up having a game where you're without, two of your five starters. And that's just the reality of it.
Which is why Spencer Anderson, Broderick Jones were drafted. Mm-hmm. Dylan Cook, they got a flyer off of Tampa Bay and he's stuck on the 53. Mm-hmm. So that's why they reconfigured that line depth. They got younger and more versatile on the offensive line. We spoke of this in training camp. We spoke of this, in the preseason. Kane asked, why isn't Darius Rush playing? It kills me every week. Now, okay, let's again, we're not doing the whole practice squad guy is better than the starter guy thing. I'm not doing that. I'm not saying Darius Rush is the next Ike Taylor. Let's slow down a little bit on who Darius Rush is. He's an undrafted rookie who was claimed from another practice squad. That being said, with an injury to James Pierre, who is out for this game, I think Rush is going to get a hat. I think it's time for Darius Rush to get a hat. I think he's going to play some meaningful snaps. Ronaldo asks, where's Chuksa Okorafor? He's the backup tackle. He's the backup tackle now. That's as a result of an incident that happened at the end of, what was it, the Jacksonville game?
I think so.
Or was it the Titans game? It was either the Titans or the Jacksonville game, where there was a little dispute, supposedly with Mike Tomlin and a play call and a decision to run the clock out or run plays, and Coach T disagreed with it. So over to the bench he goes. That's the way that Broderick Jones gets inserted into the starting lineup, albeit as a right tackle and not as a left tackle as he was drafted. So there's a ton to pay attention to as it was Jacksonville. Thank you, Spice. Everything blends in at some point. Few hours away from kickoff. We're about 23 minutes into the show, 24 minutes into the show. Let's get into picks. Drop the scores in the chat. We'll put them on the screen live. Obviously, nobody's expecting, let's put it this way, Monday Night Football, Rams Chiefs from a few years ago, where it was 56-50 or whatever that score was.
That was a game for fantasy football owners to rejoice.
Yeah. Frank, if you want to say trap game, you could argue Sunday was the trap game. I don't know about that. The trap before the trap, if you will. Let's put the score predictions in. I don't think that this could be a trap game, because they, like you said, last week would have been your trap game. If they lose this one, they're toast.
They're just not a good football team. You can't be trapped if you're not a good football team.
They're toast. Brent, thank you for the 5 gifted. Appreciate that.
Yeah. Grab one, become a member. I appreciate it. I'm taking the under. on this one. I had a hard time really coming up with a score prediction for this one, just because this is going to be an ugly football game. I think Mitch is going to throw a pick or two while trying to be aggressive. I also think he's going to be able to put up some yards. Like I said, I would bet the over on that 180.5. I think that's the only way the Steelers are going to be able to move the ball. I don't think they're going to put up a lot of points. I think the Patriots are that terrible on the offensive side of the ball. I do think that they could probably put up more points than some people might expect, or more yards than they might expect, because this defense is susceptible to at least one bad drive a game for whatever reason. But for predicting a score, I'm doing something that I almost never do, and that's I'm just going with what the teams are averaging per season or for the season.
Good.
So I'm predicting Steelers are going to win this one 16-13.
Okay. I'm going to go lower.
I can't. Yeah, I'd like. There could be a defensive touchdown in there. There could be. I mean, like 16 points. That's most likely going to be a touchdown and 3 field goals. I mean, that's yeah. It's not a high scoring game. So I'm going 16-13 final score. Steelers win, somehow squeak it out. That would be awesome, Frank. 9-8 would be just amazing.
What do you think the likelihood is that the total over-under is 20 at the end of the night? What do you think the likelihood is that it's less than 20?
I would go over 20.
What do you think the likelihood is that it's less, though? Like, if you could put a percentage on that, what do you think? I think it's more than a 50% chance that this game's total over-under is 20.
I don't think so.
At 20. I think it's lower than 20. Like, okay, like 12-9 from William, that's 21. So, could it get to that? You never know. I don't think it's a non-zero chance that it's less than 20 tonight. Mike says 42%. B-Phil thinks under. I'm gonna go about that, like 10-7. One of those just like tough to watch, ugly, and then something really good happens in the middle of it. Like it's a Mitch bomb to Pickens, or it's like Deontay on a 20-yard out route, or like some kind of blunder, like blown coverage on the Patriots' part. Like, what team is more mistake prone at this stage? Arguably, it's a draw, but I really don't know. From an offensive standpoint, at least. Steeler D, thanks for the $5. Steeler D says if the Steelers play a soft zone, we lose. Yeah, I mean,
no.
If Bill Belichick knows this Steeler defense, then he knows how to crack the safe, so to speak.
Well, but the thing is that Bill Belichick can't throw the ball for the quarterback, and when he had Tom Brady back there, Tom Brady could pick apart that soft zone. It's Bailey Zappi back there.
Yeah.
He ain't throwing the football. He ain't throwing the football well.
Do the color rush and the gold end zones paint, pun intended, more points on the board tonight?
I think the Steelers. The main reason, no matter what the score is, I think there is a reason, and some people are not going to like this, and I honestly don't care. I'm beyond caring. Mike Tomlin does a really good job getting the team together after a loss.
Yeah.
I mean, they haven't lost back-to-back games this year. So yeah, I think we're going to see a better Steelers team than we saw on Sunday. And I think I don't think there's any rain in the forecast tonight, Spice.
I don't think so either. Let me do a quick double check.
Yeah, I think it's like a game time temperature of like 42 or something like that, and then no rain. So a nice clear Pittsburgh night in December.
A mild one by comparison.
Oh yeah.
At least remember the Raiders game last year.
I was there. I remember that one.
At least in that spectrum.
That walk to the stadium, and it was a. I mean, you know where parking is. It's not like the shortest.
It's not far. It's not far, but it's not short.
It's not far, but it's not the shortest walk either. And that walk in 7 degrees with like 20-mile-an-hour winds was not fun.
No.
So.
And it's uphill going back to the car.
Yeah. No, that one was fun because that one I didn't. I'm trying to think of what I did. Oh no, I did walk back up. I took a bus, not a bus, a transport up to the parking from there because I actually didn't go home that night. I actually drove to the airport, like whenever I left the stadium, and slept in my car so that I could wake up early enough to take a first flight out in the morning to come back home to Texas to see my kids and my wife. So, also one thing to remember here, the Steelers have a significant advantage in special teams.
So we believe.
Well, I'm talking about their kicker, like Chris Boswell is a significantly better kicker. Punters are kind of a wash a little bit. Both punters are susceptible to shanks. But I'd say that the Patriots have a couple of really, really good special teamers in terms of like punt coverage, kick coverage, stuff like that. But in terms of like getting points on field goals, the Steelers are going to have a much shorter field in order to get those 3 points than the Patriots are. Put it that way.
Mike Tomlin talked about Matthew Slater like he was Darrelle Revis, though, on Monday. I'll tell you that.
I know. He'll make any team sound like they're the 85 Bears, or the 2000 Ravens, or
he does it every single
2013 week. Seahawks. The 08 Steelers. He has a way of. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he has a way of doing that.
All right, let's do this dance, baby. We are about 4 hours away from kickoff in that ballpark. Yeah. 4 hours away from kickoff, a little less. We'll get there. We're going to have some fun tonight. I don't know what this is going to be. I don't know what this could be. I don't know if I'm going to be laughing or crying or both after the whatever 60 minutes is going to be on that field tonight, but I'm excited. It's going to be fun. Like the Sickos Committee gene in me is just salivating for this kind of thing. It's going to be an honor and a privilege to be there in person tonight.
I'm going to be one of the monks on Monty Python and the Holy Grail, just with my board in my hand.
Oh, goodness. Brent, thank you. He says, love the show. Like, join, share, accept gifts. We agree. Please remember to like and share this episode if you enjoyed it. And remember, we're live every Monday through Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern. On DK Pittsburgh Sports here on YouTube, and then later in podcast form, Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Spotify. Hodge, we will see you on the live file tonight.
Yep.
Of course, it is on the website, dkpittsburghsports.com. We'll be live and live in color, chatting up Steelers Patriots in real time, giving real-time analysis. DK and I will be at the game. We will be in that press box. We will be fully covering whatever we're about to see.
Whatever it is. It might not be an actual football game, but whatever is displayed at Acrisure Stadium tonight. I think tonight is a really, really good night for like us to come up with a nickname for the stadium. The ACK, because that's what's just gonna.
Pitt players call it the ACK, so we'll do the same.
All right. The product on the field is gonna make you want to do that. Yeah.
DK and Ramon coming up in about 30 minutes or so for the Ramon Foster Show. Chris and I will be back tomorrow on a Football Friday to recap whatever happens tonight. He's Chris Halicke. I'm Corey Crisan. This has been the South Side Beat. Have a good evening, everybody. Enjoy the game.